Hi, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Data Friends. We are joined today by Anthony. Anthony, do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hey, team. I'm Anthony Nocentino.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
the Anthony Nocentino?
Yeah.
Are you that Anthony Nocentino that wrote all these books and stuff?
Well, I didn't write the books. We wrote the books.
Oh, damn. It is nice finally meeting you.
Yeah, likewise. In person? No, not in person. Anyway.
I mean, I should have used my Anthony background for this episode, actually.
That would have been awesome.
Can you not put it in the post-editing?
I can tell you one thing for sure. No, I can't.
Well, instead of having that red background, why don't you just make that the background of the pod for this episode?
Or for all the episodes. So people will think we're recording everything in Anthony's office / dungeon.
That's the former world headquarters of Nocentino Systems. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite things about this podcast, I have to say, this is really getting clear to me, is that we always focus on what we're trying to do here and never go down any rabbit holes that have nothing to do whatsoever with what we were trying to talk about, right? Because, I mean, That would be unprofessional.
We are nothing but professional here.
I couldn't agree more. But Anthony, since we've got you here, you may or may not have seen one of our previous episodes, so I guess you're fully prepared for this.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite data feature? Or tool, or thingy?
Obviously, well, not obviously, but we've spent a lot of time in the last couple of years investing in containers and Kubernetes, right? And I think the ability to write code to deploy systems still is my favorite thing in the space that we have. And obviously you can extend that into like Azure and all the other clouds as well. But I think as data professionals, we spent so much time building servers, cultivating servers, giving them names, making sure they're on all the time. But now we can write a single line of code and get access to a data service to do a thing, to support a business function, to test, right? To teach. And this is, I think, an extremely powerful capability that we have in our world, right? And that's, I think, going to help accelerate what we do as data professionals and also the business challenges that we can solve with that technology.
So what you're saying, it's not just for dev test purposes?
I mean, it can be, if that's all you do, if you're a developer, right? Hopefully you're not in production very often, right?
That's where I test all my best code.
It also saves you a ton of time on deployment, by the way, if you never have to deploy. It is basically near zero deployments, as I call it.
If you never have to
sounds
deploy,
way more professional than I do everything in prod.
If you never have to deploy, did you actually deploy?
That's a very philosophical question.
That is too deep for the podcast, please. Too deep.
What is happening? I don't know. I want to say no, but I also want to say yes. I also no. I don't know. So, but getting back on that topic, I mean, as you and I both know, well, first of all, as people may have noticed, we both agreed that this is an amazing thing. We may even have done a pre-con and sessions and whatnot about that together. And at the same time, adoption is horrible, to be quite honest. If you talk to, at least across the dev tech, if you talk to people, some will be like, yeah, we do that for our developers. They're running a Docker container, or we get a Kubernetes cluster where they can spin up stuff super fast, and we do all that as code and whatnot, all these fancy benefits. And then we go like, okay, are you doing that in production? Everyone's like, oh no, you can't do that. What do you think that is?
So we have time, right? This is a 50-minute podcast. And so one of the things
15.
that... I thought you said 50.
I'm just going to press that button now.
Yeah, I was going to say, get ready
5
with the
minutes
button.
in. However,
get ready with the button.
I'm pretty sure Anthony's going to need a bunch of those.
So let's go back even further. Let's go back to Windows Core, right? How many of us deployed Windows Core in production? Put your hands down, right? Not a lot of people. You did?
I did.
Okay, Windows. All right.
We did too.
What did you have to do? Or what was in my mind, when someone, especially when I was a consultant and someone was like, hey, I want to deploy Windows Server Core in my environment, my mind always went to, if that server dies, how fast can you get it back online with your skill set? Right? Do you know what it takes to bring that thing back to support the environment? And chances are, like the majority of customers that I talked to, the answer was no. They didn't know PowerShell well enough. They had some sort of dependency on some graphical thing for a driver for an HBA, yada yada, right?
See, my server can't go down because it's a cluster.
That's another show. And so, but the idea was like, how can I support that environment in a way that I'm comfortable? And I think that's where we're at as data professionals, right? We know how to deploy SQL Server on Windows, in FCIs, in availability groups, and all those things. And we're good at that. And there's 25 years of engineering supporting the platform to this point, right? And how many of us have had the luxury to build a brand new system from scratch, right? Not a lot of us, right? Deploy a brand new data center from scratch. Or, I mean, we all kind of moved into the cloud recently. So that's kind of an analogous situation there. But those opportunities are few and far between, right? But what I am seeing in my customer base today, where I work now, and when I was a consultant, is the people that are cooking up the new platforms, designing the next generation architectures, thinking about how to build teams that have a common substrate from a tech platform standpoint. Those are the folks that are looking at containers and Kubernetes. If I have a team that's skilled in Kubernetes, and this actually happened in a customer base of mine, I had a team, the development team was skilled in Kubernetes. They bought another company and dropped in a Windows SQL Server. So now they have two staffs. They have the Windows team and they have the Linux team. So one of the goals was to bring those two teams together to have a single platform, because that's more supportable. There's less people involved. Unfortunately, that's a good thing from a business standpoint to support a platform. And it's a more singular skill set than having to have specialists in the SQL Server space or the platform space, et cetera. And so those are the people that I see leveraging this tech, not necessarily like all of us, I think, come from, SQL Server on Windows, right? That stack. And so, yeah, that's what I'm seeing in the field. Still single digit percentages, though. Let's be serious.
What I hear is we're getting there.
Yeah.
Getting closer.
And, but I mean, we've talked about this, Anthony, but we're getting there. People are traditionally slow at adopting things, and sometimes that even means they're lagging so far behind that they don't realize that what they currently invest in doesn't make sense anymore. And still, my favorite example on this is how my BDC courses get way more viewership than my ARC courses. I mean, BDC is discontinued. You would expect everybody to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that course. I'm not gonna buy that book. I'm not gonna read that blog post. And still, mostly basically since it got discontinued, I've been seeing that spike. So
been going up, yeah.
Yes.
That's because people like things that are unique, right? Or like you can't get them anymore. So now it's like
or they just want to help me out.
Yeah, maybe.
Just want to show Microsoft the demand is there.
We just keep opening new browser tabs, refreshing cache, and then replaying your course.
I very much appreciate that. I mean, I do the same. I actually bought a bunch of subscriptions just to support my own courses. But
how is the financials working out?
Smart.
Yeah, I'm in it for the very long run, so I'm not looking at it on a day-by-day financial basis. It's more like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But there's more than money, Just saying.
There's also more than data.
There is?
There is.
Wait.
Which brings us to our next important question.
Mm-hmm.
We always ask, what is your favorite data thingy? But we also care about what your non-favorite or favorite non-data thingy is. And why it's sausage dogs.
Sausage dogs. Sausage dogs named after Italian things.
Exactly.
Yeah, no. We have two dachshunds, Rigatoni and Linguini. Follow me on Insta, and they're definitely fun. If anyone's ever,
why do we have to follow you on Insta for that? Why can't we follow them? Why don't they have their own accounts?
Agreed.
I am not that creative. Let's be serious.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm really good with computers, not good with social media influencing. Right.
Fair.
So. Yes. We have probably the rarest of things. If anyone listening is on a dachshund, knock on wood, we have the rarest of things in the dachshund universe. They're housebroken. Shh. Knock on wood. Anybody that's on the dachshund knows exactly what I'm talking about. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
So
Someone
for
explained this.
those that don't,
Yeah.
just assuming there might be someone even in this group of 3 that has no idea what you just said.
Yeah. They're notorious for being untrainable pretty much in all things. They're kind of like cats. They just do whatever they want to do. Right. And so that's a dachshund.
At least they're
I
cute.
see.
They're adorable. That totally makes up for it, right? And then you play your Insta video in slow motion, like their ears flap. Oh man, it's amazing.
What I'm hearing is Anthony trying to gain new followers for his Insta account.
No. So,
Like and subscribe. So points.
add the link here, please.
Yeah, we're going to add an affiliate link so you can actually track back how many of your 2 new followers were coming from this podcast.
1, 2.
Oh, I'm already a follower.
Yeah.
I'm already in.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but it's nothing personal. I'm not on Insta, so I'm kind of that BDC person. I'm lagging behind on technology. I'm still trying to figure out how Twitter works.
Yeah, me too.
There's way more pretty pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
That part I understood. Then again, there's way better life advice on Twitter, I guess.
I think you're right.
Ooh, unsure.
Just yesterday I've learned. See, I'm making the same mistake again. I'm saying yesterday, and it makes absolutely no sense with regards to.
You mean 2 weeks ago?
Pretty much. So, on April 4th, I've been taught, damn it, on Twitter that I have to work at least 120 hours per week. I would never have gotten that inside knowledge on Insta, I guess.
Oh, hold on.
True.
There's one guarantee in life: the harder you work, that isn't going to yield, or the volume of work that you have isn't going to yield a better output. I can guarantee you that, because you're going to be tired, stressed out, burned out, and unhappy. Right?
That's pretty much what everybody else on that thread said as well. Yeah. So
there's going to be times where you have to run that hard, but you can't run that hard all the time.
Yeah, it's not maintainable.
Especially not that number. Yeah.
And well, my point was, if you really have to, there is something, either you have the most serious of trust issues ever, or you have the worst team. You have the worst series of trust issues ever. I know that, but
that's why there was only over one Nocentino of systems, right? So, yeah.
There is that. We kind of cut you off very early in this episode when we asked you who you were. So you mentioned your name, and I was getting excited to finally get to meet you and all that.
Do we want the full professional introduction and stuff like that, the whole thing?
No, I basically got one question, which is very important as it leads us to another question.
Sure.
Where you're from, Anthony?
I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I currently live in Oxford, Mississippi. I only choose cities and states that have very long names. That's the primary criteria, at least 4 syllables.
Sorry, Ohio. Anthony's just not for you.
Right? Maine?
It's not happening. Then, you may end up in Delaware, which is close in, but anyways. So you just made it hard for yourself here, basically, because we have another question. And that question relates to where you're from. So now you have to kind of make the decision first if you feel like you're coming from Oxford, Mississippi, or you're coming from Philadelphia. Because, as you know, Jess and I were driving this van, and we're always very hungry after our long drive. So if we get to your town, either where you're originally from or where you live now, what would be some good local food for us to get?
Okay. So I'll give you this advice, and I give it to a lot of friends that ask me, like, they want to go to Philadelphia and they want to have a cheesesteak. I'm like, all right, cool. Go to Philadelphia, buy a cheesesteak, take the picture, throw it in the garbage, go to Reading Terminal Market, go to Nick's, and get a roast pork Italian sandwich with broccoli rabe and provolone on top. This is going to be slightly morbid, but an established magnitude. If I knew I was going to die tomorrow, I'd go have that sandwich right now. It's that good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So It's one of those things. It's super simple. Literally, it's a pork shoulder that's roasted in an oven. It's spiced and herbed. They take it out, chop it up, put it on a long bun. There you go. It's magic.
Didn't Jim recommend a
sounds
sandwich
amazing.
to us as well?
Yeah, also from Pennsylvania, but not that sandwich.
What do you got?
I'm feeling like
The
sandwich
Primanti
is a very
brothers.
popular
Oh, yeah.
dish.
That's one of my favorite sandwiches. And from Ohio, it's like a 2-hour drive, and it was totally worth it to get that sandwich.
Oh yeah, I planned a road trip to hit Primanti Brothers at like lunchtime,
Yep, smart.
so that I could get there at like 11 or whenever it opened.
Yeah.
Okay, now I really feel like I have to try this, because last time I was like, oh, okay, I mean, we're talking about a sandwich here, but
It's a
at
very
this
good
point, I feel
sandwich.
like this is like
Also, some of them are 24 hours, so you can go in the middle of the night and get that sandwich.
There we go. I feel like this is a sandwich of Ross Geller magnitude.
Yes, exactly. Love that show.
Technically, I don't really have to push that button again, but then again, I really like pushing that button. So
Just do it.
You
Yeah.
have a tendency to push my buttons, Ben.
there's also that.
It's a solid bromance here.
Stay out of my DMs.
Hashtag Benthany. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. It was nice to meet you in almost person, almost having the same background. Thank you for taking the time seriously. This was another fun episode. Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, everyone. And we see you next time.
Thanks, team. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, folks. Bye.